Fucking time. It's so fucking annoying. You need to fix that damn shit. They need to fix that damn shit. Oh, come on, bro. I'm fucking up my shit right now. What's up, everybody? Welcome in. This is a mental health and recovery check-in. I know I put men's mental health and recovery chat, but you don't got to be a man to be up in here. It's for everybody. Much love, everybody. I hope everybody's doing good today. Doing good tonight. Don't be afraid to drop some questions in the chat or just, you know what I'm saying, vent, do whatever you got to do. That's what this space is for. I gotta stop sending me these co-host invites, bro. I don't do that. In the background, just so y'all can see it. I'm losing interest in life. I don't know what to do anymore. Well, this might sound a little cliche, but you got to keep pushing. I think it's normal for a lot of us to be just tired and fed up with life, but you know what I'm saying? We can't just quit like that. You got to grab this shit by the balls, rip them off. What's up, Jersey Jones? What's up, everybody? I see y'all coming in. Y'all don't gotta be quiet. I mean, y'all could just sit and watch too, you know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to force nobody to do nothing, but if you want to talk about anything, you can do that. I have no friends, no one to talk to. I'm like completely alone. Am I allowed to be in here? I give good advice. Yeah, absolutely. I know it says men's mental health chat, but you don't gotta be a man to be up in here. The topic is just usually, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to target men with mental health problems so they can feel comfortable with talking about the issue. I got mental health problems too, so that's the only reason I put that up there. But you could be any gender, it don't matter. I have no friends, no one to talk to. I'm like completely alone. Well, sometimes, especially in the world today, I feel like that's what's best. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, maybe not completely alone. Maybe you just got your family or your kids, your mom, your dad, whatever. I don't know your situation, but sometimes it's best to not have friends. This world we living in today is crazy. I personally believe there ain't no such thing as friends no more anyway. Was there before, but my life is going downhill. I have no more patience. I'm sorry to hear that. Have you, so TikTok let these new rules out, right? So I can only give, like certain types of advice when it comes to this because I'm not a clinical psychologist. I'm not licensed to be giving people this type of advice. TikTok will ban me. So I do got to ask the question of, have you seen a doctor? Have you seen a psychologist or psychiatrist, therapist? Yeah, it's important. I love when men open up, but some women don't. And that's weird. Yeah, I know, because the stigma that's been put out against men for the longest time, they don't like emotional men. They, you know what I mean? Not that we're emotional when you think about it, but like they don't like men that are in touch with their feelings, or like men that don't bottle everything up and that are just not all aggressive and fucking manly man all the time, because they think that stigma is real. You know what I mean? We all supposed to just hold it in and be tough as nails all the fucking time. Thank you for the transparency. That's important to qualify. Yeah, no worries. I'm drinking my life away. Well, don't do that. I can't, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I can't, you a grown woman. I can't tell you, sorry if you a grown man. My bad, I didn't see your picture. I can't tell you what to do, what not to do. You a grown man, but You know, that alcohol gonna make things worse, bro. I promise you. I used to be an addict myself, not to alcohol, but.
Hold on, baby. I will get you some.
No, my dad. I'm asking Dad.
Give me a second, buddy. Yeah, I wasn't addicted to alcohol or nothing like that, but I know how it goes going down that road. It just makes shit worse. As mental health professional, focus on men's mental health is important. Oh, okay, you a mental health professional, huh? You got to get 1,000 followers, man, so you can start doing your own lives and you can start, you know, giving people some real clinical type of advice. Give me 1 second, though, y'all. I'll be right back. I got to get myself some juice real quick if y'all didn't hear that. Yes. Is this lemonade?
No, his juice is in the pantry.
It's called. I am talking about.
Alright, y'all, I'm back. What we got going on here? What's up, Papo? I ain't seen you in a minute, dog. You followed my other account, but it's all good. I ain't doing debates no more. I ain't even tripping. Yo, Trey, you still in here? What's up, Papo? What you been up to, man? Shit. I like the subject. No worries. I'm keeping it on I'm Cuba Talks, if you didn't know that. So I'm trying to keep this account on a more positive mental health recovery type note. Because that been debating taking a break. Yeah, exactly. I'm done. I ain't even taking a break from that shit. I'm done with that shit. Men's liberation equals feminism. Can you elaborate on what you mean by that? So, correct me if I'm confused. Correct me if I'm wrong, but are you saying like men's mental health is the same thing as like feminism? Like being pro men's mental health is feminism? He's talking shit. I know he's talking shit. I just want him to clarify more what he means. In order to liberate men from negative stereotypes, we must liberate women from there too. This is why are you making it about that? Am I wrong when I say that there's a stigma against men and their mental health in this country? It's not about that. It's really not. And just to no, you're not. What do you, bro? You just want to argue. You could take this to a debate live if you want to, because this ain't what that is. This is a mental health and recovery check-in. This is for people to come in here and feel comfortable. If you're going to come in here and try to twist up the narrative and shit like y'all do in the debate lives, go somewhere else. That shit's for the birds over here, dog. Dude, I'm on your side. It don't sound like it. It don't sound like it. I just acknowledge for me and you to live good, healthy mental lives. Cool. Trey Wade, you should go up. I'm not sure if Trey's still in here or not. But yeah, Trey, you more than welcome. Come up here, bro. Of course, but you don't get what I'm saying. You don't get what I'm saying. Hold on, buddy. Men's mental health matters just as much as women's mental health. By me saying that men's mental health matters is not a debate or a protest against women's mental health. It's just a statement because there's a stigma in this country against men's mental health and how we're supposed to feel and how we're supposed to go about things. It's just a fact, bro. I'm not talking about anything I'm not going against women's mental health or none of that shit. It does. It does, though. Because you're trying to make it about something that it's not. Any woman could come in here and we could talk about that. Any man can come in here and we could talk about that. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, a lot of people take this and try to bash women with it, too. I ain't never seen nobody do that. But I wouldn't be surprised. People do anything on this app for views and attention. But I'm making it clear right now, that's not what this is. What's up, Raptor? What's up, everybody else that's in here? Tap that screen, share the live. Let's get some people in here that do want to talk on a positive note. Anyway, I appreciate you having a chat like this. No worries, man. That's what I'm here for. That's what this account's for. I got another account that, you know what I'm saying, it's kind of big, but I wouldn't say that it's big. But it ain't nothing but drama on there, man. The reason I got on TikTok in the first place was to talk about recovery and mental health and try to help people in any way I can. Whether it's through giving you a little bit of advice, just having a little conversation with you, just giving you a space to speak openly and freely without interruption or judgment. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm trying to do. Can I ask how we really improve men's mental health, however? If I had an answer for that, I definitely wouldn't be on TikTok talking about it. That's for sure. I think it all starts with women have all kind of outlets for their mental health while men are told to suck it the fuck up. Yeah, exactly that. The stigma needs to stop. Men need to stop seeing themselves and thinking about themselves in that type of a manner, in that ideology that's passed down from our fathers and our great grandfathers and all that shit. We gotta stop holding our shit in. We gotta stop with the fucking I'm the toughest motherfucker in the room shit and don't nothing bother me shit and just hold everything in. That shit's gotta stop. And the stigma of other men telling men that, oh, you're not as traumatized as me. You weren't in a war, therefore you don't have PTSD. You don't feel the same shit as me. I went through something worse than you, so you ain't shit. All that shit's gotta stop. That's the start of reversing the stigma of men's mental health. How we get there, can't tell you, bro. What's up, Lex? I see you. I deal with PTSD from combat in the Marine Corps. I got you, bro. I got CPTSD. I ain't never been to war. I ain't never been a Marine. I ain't never been in the Army. None of that shit. But I get you, bro. You hold it in forever. Never let go. That's facts. Even me myself. I'm on here talking all this shit that we gotta stop doing this and we gotta stop doing that, but I still don't even know how to really express myself, like my real feelings and my real like trauma and shit. I still can't do that. It just goes to show I'm a walking example, bro. Men are not allowed to have a complaint when they are viewed as not having valid emotions. Exactly, brother. By getting rid of stereotypes associated with one gender. Wait, what? We get there, in my opinion, by getting rid of gender, man. Look, no. I don't know what's up with you people on TikTok coming in here and trying to flip the whole narrative. No. We don't have to get rid of gender in order to fix the stigma against men. That doesn't make no sense to me. And I don't got no problem with the LGBTQ community, but bro, gender ain't just gonna go away. It's not. It's just not reality. In this conversation, the only thing that this conversation has to do with gender is that I'm talking about men's mental health. Other than that, gender is irrelevant in this conversation. Gender is not essential to society. That's cool that you think that, but this live ain't about that. You're about one more stupid thing away from getting kicked out of here, dog. We live in a society where everyone signs a cast after an injury but runs when someone has depression. Oof. That's deep. I like that. I might have to steal that from you. We live in a society where everyone signs a cast after an injury but runs from someone who has depression. Especially a man who has depression, right? When you see a man in the corner, not talking to nobody, they ain't doing nothing. They kind of got that mean look on their face. They're just doing their own thing. It's right. People see it as what? That's unappealing. That's unattractive. He's aggressive. He's angry. But like holding in years and years and years and years worth of trauma and emotion is gonna make a motherfucker like that. And it's the fact that people can't grasp that. They instantly look at him and, oh, he's a scary guy. That makes him even worse. You can't remove a vital part of the conversation. Bro, get the fuck out of here, bro. Get the fuck out of here, bro. I can't. Trying to make the conversation. First of all, he came in here trying to make it seem like I was attacking women because it says men's mental health. And I made it clear when I started that this is for everybody. It's not just for men, even though that's what I put up there because to me, that's who I want to talk to. I want to talk to other men who also have mental health issues. Try to flip the whole thing like I'm attacking women, and then you want to sit there and if we just remove gender, that fixes men's mental health. Make it make sense, bro. Make it make real logical sense. Please. Men are not viewed as human, but pillars of strength and conflict emotion with cracks in that strength. Our society makes it harder for men to be human. Yeah. Move, boy. I don't like the way you talking to me. You can ask me. But here. Hello, Shannon. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great this evening. And thank you for doing this live because I believe that mental health for men is extremely important, especially in today's society.
Absolutely. No
I have a
worries. That's what
question
I'm here
and I
for.
want to put it out there and get your input on it. It's just something I was thinking about today. And that is, do you think that our concept of modern masculinity is being influenced heavily by cinema and television, and that the ultimate masculinity that's being showcased is actually unattainable, and this causes frustration in men's lives?
Can you elaborate on how you're describing
Okay,
masculinity or like
so
how
we
you would
portray men
define?
in movies and cinema like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Rocky, just strong, brutal, unemotional. Even back in early history, John Wayne. And do you think we're robbing men of their ability to get the release that they need emotionally by
Yes.
portraying them
If
as
we're look
this
if we're
rough,
looking
rugged, always in command person?
yeah, if we're looking at it from that aspect, I think that those are kind of old concepts that were being pushed by the media. I think the media is now pushing more of a, how do I say this without being disrespectful? They're pushing more of a feminine masculinity type of a thing with modern day media. But this is where the conflict comes in, right? Because we have people who grew up in that age with the Arnold Schwarzeneggers and the John Waynes and all that shit, and they believe in that ideology. And then you got the men that are coming up that are being, in my opinion, over feminine due to the influences that they're consuming about who they should be. You see what I'm saying? And now you got toxic masculinity from back in the day and toxic femininity in men button heads, and there's no in between. there's no actual healthy way to be, and until you've been through both roads and you realize, like, you've been through some real shit and you really start to realize that both of those things are wrong, and you kind of just ride the in between road, if that makes any sense.
Okay, and I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. That in my concept of masculinity, what I consider to be a masculine man is not the Thor, the Captain America. It's very different. Two of the strongest men I've ever had in my life have both laid in my lap and wept.
Okay. And it's my personal opinion that, a good man, he is capable of being Thor, and he is also capable of being a teddy bear, but he doesn't cling on to either one. That's where the toxicity comes into. You got men that just want to be teddy bear and men that just want to be Thor.
And do you think figures like Andrew Tate are good or bad for men?
Well, Andrew Tate, I see I'm a little confused by him, right? I haven't looked into him too much. I've heard some rumors about him. I have seen some interviews with him in it, and I think that he says some very toxic masculinity type shit, but then he also says some shit that's very accurate. So I can't really give a solid opinion on Andrew
Yeah,
Tate.
he says some very truthful things in some very unconscionable ways.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a better way of putting it for sure. Yeah, no, I don't really have much of an opinion on him. If he's really a trafficker though, then yeah, no, fuck him. If he's really doing what he's being accused of, then yeah, no, I can't talk about that man at all. Andrew Tate is just a businessman targeting impressionable young men. See, but a lot of people say that about what's that psychologist? Jordan Peterson. I can't say that Andrew Tate's targeting anybody. I mean, I think that I don't think he's like being a puppet master. He's like, I'm gonna target men. That way I can get famous. Da, 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 da. Like, I really think that what he's doing is coming from a genuine aspect, and he's just trying to teach men how to get back to being that type of way. Though he might slide some toxic ideology in there and everything. I think he's got the goodness in his
Well,
heart.
Andrew Tate pushes a disproven theory, and that's the theory of the alpha male. And the alpha male comes from research on wolves. However, the research was done on captive wolves. And that terminology and that research was quickly refuted when they did the same study on wolves in the wild, and they found that when you put wolves in the wild, they act more like a family than wolves in captivity. Because wolves in captivity come from different parts, they don't have that commonality between them, and so they do fight to have that alpha male.
So you're saying that the alpha male in humans is just like, nah, it's not possible. That's toxic, right?
Well, I'm saying the concept came from research in wolves that was extremely biased because it came from research on captive wolves. If you take males and put them in a prison, you're going to get that same alpha male mentality.
Of course. Okay. Yeah,
But
no, I
in
agree with that.
society, in an open society, the wolves operate more on a family hierarchy than they do an alpha male hierarchy.
Right. And yeah, and if you've known any men that been to prison or anything like that, it works the same way. They go inside. I got family members. I got a bunch of friends that have been locked up or are locked up, and they go inside and they become a whole different person. That's why when they come out, you know what I mean, that PTSD really hits them like they're a war vet. They can't stop doing certain things. They can't stop eating those foods. They can't stop being aware of their surroundings 24/7. So yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Papo, you want to come up, bro?
Now, I think the difference between Jordan Peterson and somebody like Andrew Tate is Jordan Peterson actually lays some pretty nice principles down with what he teaches.
I haven't seen. I don't follow him or anything, but I've seen a lot of speeches that he's given. I've watched a couple of his classes or whatever it is that he does, and I don't see anything toxic about that man. I mean, I could be completely wrong. I could have just not seen it yet, but he don't do nothing but spit psychological facts from my point of view.
And he's made some statements that have actually literally changed my life.
Right. Yeah, me too. Honestly, he's kind of changed the way that I think. Yeah, absolutely. What's up, Papo?
Hey, what's up, Cuba?
Just chilling,
Shit.
man. Just chilling.
What's up,
What
Shannon?
do you-
Yeah,
Hey, what's going on, Pablo?
Papo.
She said Pablo.
I like that,
Is that what
Pablo.
it said? Oh, I'm sorry, I
Papo.
can't read.
Nah, it's
It's
alright.
so
Like me
small. I
too. I
thought you
use
said
glasses.
Pablo, so I said Pablo.
Nah, it's alright. You brought up a very good point about the study, so respects. Because I never I always understood it's just it was just a theory. The whole thing, the alpha thing, beta thing. No, it's not humans are way more complex than that. So you can't put things on that type of spectrum. That's kind of like my view on it. It can't be like black and white like that. You see what I'm saying? And it's a lot of it's conditional, as you mentioned, like Cuba, the jails. She mentioned captivity.
Yep. I mean, it makes sense. Yep, it adds up together. But yeah, no, because I do know. If we want to talk about wolves, if I'm wrong, correct me, please. But don't wolves they leave the weak links behind in the pack out in the wild, right?
No, in the wild, they actually care for the weak. It's in captivity they attack the weak.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I didn't know that.
I heard that there's in certain circumstances in the wild when it's very very cold and there's not a lot of food available. I heard that it creates sort of the similar mentality and it creates the infighting, and that's where the weak ones get weeded out, as far as I heard. Now let me find out. There's actually a term that refers to that. Let me try to look it up right.
I think it's called survival of the fittest.
No, no, no. I heard there's a term because there was a movie based on that. I'm gonna try to find a term right.
Yeah, no, I could have swore, man, because I know how they run their packs and they keep it's a little bit different than other packs. Like they'll keep the elderly and the older ones in the middle so that they're protected. They keep the alphas in the front, and then they put the weak links in the back. And more times than not, the weak links get left behind.
I think it's the other way around. I think the alphas is in the back, from what I understand. I
Okay.
could be
But going back to the original point, that whole alpha concept of masculinity just seems to be almost unattainable for the average young man.
Hmm.
And I think there needs to be a more reasonable expectation modeled and something a little bit more moderate modeled for young men.
Personally, I think that yeah, no, being in that alpha state is all seven. That's definitely toxic. But like I kind of said earlier, I think that men should be capable of being alpha. I think men should be capable of being able to do that when they need to do that. I think that that's pretty important. I think that also tells you what a good man is, right? Because if he's just weak and he's not capable of anything whatsoever when it comes to being an alpha,
Well, a
then
good
he's
man should
just
be very capable of being dangerous.
yeah, exactly. No. What's up, Nana? What's up, David, the original? Who's David D? David the original? Who I fucking think it is? Okay, never mind. David the original. I thought you was somebody else. Elders up front to set the pace, I think. Okay, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at it now because I remember learning about that a long time ago. I probably learned about that shit in school. I just got bits and pieces of the information in my head still. Well, that doesn't tell me shit. What's up, Nana? What's up, Nana? Give me Nana, please. No, there ain't no reason I should be getting Nana doing this. No type of reason. Pack structure, dude.
So I had an idea for men's mental health awareness,
Okay,
and I got shot down pretty bad in another live when I put it out.
okay, let's hear it.
And and I would say to bring attention to it, quite possibly, I think something fun to do would to have some kind of a festival or awareness thing that would include maybe something like a barbecue, a car show, um, other activities men would be involved in that would draw men in, but be centered around men's mental health.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think that you have good intentions behind that, but I think that centering like it would have to be almost a trap for a lot of men because if you center the whole event, I personally feel like if you center the whole event on men's mental health, a lot of men are going to be thrown off. A lot of men aren't going to want to attend that because like I was saying earlier, a lot of us hold our shit in. We're not comfortable with talking about that shit. You know what I mean? So
That's the whole point. And I'm trying to figure out how do you get men to lower their defenses and get in a setting where they feel like it's not going to be judgmental. Because you can't talk about your coworker.
I got the answer for you. I really do.
Okay.
A woman. One woman per man that actually loves the man. Look, I'm telling you right now.
Well, I love them
I
all, honey.
I got you. But I mean, like, it really takes, for me at least, I'm just speaking from personal experience, it really takes that connection with that feminine energy, right? Because before I met my wife, I was just on the street my whole life. I was addicted to drugs, highly traumatized. I've been shot before, all kinds of shit. And I was just closed off, couldn't tell me nothing. I was the toughest motherfucker around. You just like your typical toxic masculine men. And then I met my wife. And slowly but surely over the last 5 years that we've been together now, I'm learning how to open up. I'm learning how to drop that fucking toxic bullshit because of her. Yeah.
Which creates a juxtaposition because it's women are looking for a man who's overcome that already. So
I
here's the
suppose.
juxtaposition. You needed a woman to overcome that, but most women are looking for a man that's found a way to overcome that and find his own confidence another way.
Hmm.
So this creates the juxtaposition.
I suppose I can see it. I can see it. like I was saying before, I was just speaking from my personal experience. I know not every, you know what I mean, not every man's gonna have the same experience as me, or not every. Some men are so far gone in this ideology and lost in their own emotions that they ain't gonna come out of it, and that's just true. For the ones that do have hope, yeah, we need to be doing something for sure. Said
And
good
this has
thing.
brought this new thing that's come around in the last 10 years, women that date older men.
Yeah, that shit.
What?
I don't know
That
about
it
that.
what came out in the last 10 years?
Well, it's been very much more popular in the last 10 to 15 years that women, young women, are now wanting to date an older man, much older man.
Oh no, that's always been a thing. That's always been a thing.
It's always been
Uh,
a thing, but it's increased exponentially in the last 20 years.
no, I say the contrary. I think it's decreased. I think it's decreased because there's this new like
Oh,
taboo behind
I'm
it.
gonna have to go
Before
get
that
statistics now.
dynamic,
I don't know.
is now like, I mean, looked at as like in a negative light, as in before. I mean, like if you look at the grandparents and everything, you look at the dynamic and the age difference. You know what I mean? It was very normal to see that. Now it's like date your own age, and it's like it's weird. Like,
Yeah.
yup, this concept because it's looked at as very negative right now.
At
Oh,
first, I was kind of going against what you were saying, Papo. But when you put it like that, yeah, back in the day, it was very common for 30-year-old men to be with
Yeah,
16-year-old girls
but
and
we're
shit.
talking way back in the day. It's starting to make it come around. And when I say dating older, I'm talking about 25, 26-year-old women dating 38, 45, 48-year-old men.
that's normal. That's completely normal. To me, I don't know. Depends is like what circles you've been in. I seen it all around. Like,
Well, it's
no,
normal unless you're a 26-year-old man looking for a 26-year-old woman.
what do you? I'm just saying, like it's a common thing, like that I've seen since I was young. I mean, women, their requirements is different than men within relationships. Usually, they need stability. They need that, to see the leadership in a man, and experience is respected in a man, not vice versa always. You see what I'm saying? That's like another subject. But
Yeah.
as far as the mental health, what I mean, I'm glad you brought it up, like Cuba, for real. This, like these lives, I think what you're doing is part of the solution. Like this right here, that's
Thank you.
pretty much it.
And that's the
So,
purpose behind it, bro. Genuinely, honestly, like I was saying before, man. I wanted to come on this app and make a difference. I got kind of lost in the drama and the toxicity on here and shit. But yeah, doing these types of lives, having these conversations, I might not have hundreds of people in here like I do on my other account, but that don't matter. Like my homie Johnny Guala said earlier, it's quality or yeah, quality over quantity. You know what I mean? If I can talk to one person at a time and affect one person at a time, that's where it starts. It's a slow start, but it works.
Oh, it's an absolute refreshment. I am so tired of talking about transgenderism.
Oh man.
Peace, love, Doji. What's up?
What's up with you?
Being a transgender woman, I
Just
am
chilling,
tired of it.
chilling.
I am so sick of it.
Oh God, the fact that you're tired of talking about it, but you are it, just kind of irritates my soul. And the fact that you brought it up and you talking about it, but you tired of talking about it, tell me you ain't tired of talking about it because you brought it up, honey.
I don't want to talk about it no more,
But
sweetheart.
but you trying to talk about it, and we not.
No, 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 no,
Well,
All right,
no.
all
I'm.
right,
I'm
yo,
tired
all
of
right,
it.
all right,
I
all
will
right.
drop
So
I'm.
out if we make this about me.
You
let's go
are
ahead and
trying
make
to make it
amends
about
right
you.
now.
Okay, so
Yeah, if this is
um,
going to be
I
about me, I will drop it.
No, honey, it's gonna be okay. Just try to focus on the topics that we're trying to talk about as far as like mental health goes right now. Because I was trying to make a statement about that, but I got a little bit disrailed. And I don't want to
I'm
disrespect
sorry.
you. I'm sorry, I don't want to
No,
disrespect
it's
you,
okay.
but I understand that it's a hot topic in the society that we live in, and you constantly have to explain yourself might be frustrating, but you saying that you don't want to talk about it and then bringing it up was kind of a little bit triggering for me. And I don't want to talk to you in a derogatory way or
No,
disrespect you.
please,
But
let's
I was
not
like,
go there
hold up,
on this
cuz
live.
I'm sorry. My bad.
Well, you've
Y'all
got to
good. Y'all good.
understand that men's
It's
mental health
TikTok. It's going
affects
happen.
everybody.
I think that mental health affects everybody, period. Let's not just say men or women's mental health, because if you deal with and you're just talking about men's mental health, then you're not bringing into attention that there are a lot of
Yes, but this is
women,
their
there
month.
are a lot of
This is
people,
their month.
period. Please don't talk over me. There are a lot of people, period, that need mental health services and that go through their day to day thinking and trying to be quote unquote okay when they messed up on the inside. Okay, if you don't figure out what the problem is and the root and the stem for why you act the way you act, treat the people that around you the way you treat them, or why you accept the way that the people around you treat you, then you're going to be in a messed up situation if you don't actually come to the root cause of it. And I think it's really
Hmm.
harder for men to accept the station of mental health because they're so they're men and women both have a very high category of love and hate when it comes to like toxic masculinity. Because even a man loves an alpha male. Even a man wants to be an alpha male. Even a man wants to handle all of this and all of that, whatever. A woman wants that and wants all this and wants all of that. But nobody thinks about the pressure, the repercussions, the actions that a man has to take in order to be considered those things and how it affects their mental health. Nobody talks about the pressure of being a man on a man, and especially a man that doesn't know how to be a man, but only learns it from the toxic masculinity kind of narrative that we get it. Like it's just like if you weren't brought up by the right man, then you'll look at a whole lot of this so-called toxic masculinity as the way to be instead of, doing it differently. And it's messed up out here. That's what I wanted to say.
Very much so. I appreciate your words on the topic.
And I was
And
going
I
to
know you
bingo you on that because you hit it right on the head.
absolutely. And I know you weren't in here for the beginning of the live, but I did make it clear that, this I know I put men's mental health up there because that's really like who I'm targeting, like who I want to talk to. Targeting sounds bad. I should just stop saying that. That's who I want to talk to because I'm a man with mental health issues as well, and fixing the stigma starts with men talking to men. But women are 100% welcome up in here. Anybody that wants to talk about mental health, 100% welcome up in here. You don't got to be a certain gender. You don't got to have a certain problem. None of that shit. The topic is mental health and recovery as well. My
I
big
just
ass head was
came
in the way.
I just came to say that like I support all men who are on a mental health journey because I know it's hard. I've been in therapy for years and stuff. I tried, I went therapist, psychologist. Things went bad. I was like, I don't need like y'all, and you know, I'm at a point where I'm just like, you know what? I really need to figure out a better way to, make my mental health journey one of the number one things that I need in my life instead of, masking and, doing other things, coping mechanisms that are, negative, kind of thing. And men in my life that I know, friends, family members, etc., they're like, why would I talk to somebody? I'm just like, I don't want to talk to nobody either because we in the same boat, like, so
Right.
I know it's hard. I know it's hard. I ain't like,
Well,
I'm
it's because
talkative, but
some
I ain't
some
trying to talk about it.
therapists they need therapists themselves. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes, like I've spoke to like 4 different people, and
Yeah.
a lot of them are tied to the pharmaceutical industries, and they kind of suggest medication, and that's not what is needed within this conversation. You see what I'm
No,
saying?
I
That's
was I was at a therapist, right? And the therapist put me with what do you is it a psychologist? And the psychologist is the one who is legally able to like, give you medicine. And I was like, yeah, I'm depressed as fuck. They was like, oh well, you're depressed because of your anxiety. And I'm like, no, bitch, I'm depressed, but I do have anxiety. Like I have less anxiety than I am just saddest shit about life, bitch. Shit is not going right. I can tell you backstory. The shit has been fucked up since fucked up was fucked up. Excuse my language. And yeah, so you can tell me that my anxiety is causing my depression, but bitch, I'm just fucking depressed. You can't tell me that my depression is because of anxiety. Bitch, I'm not as anxious because I'm as bitch. You're just gonna tell me that that's the cause of that.
No,
She gave me pills, right? The pills that they gave me made me so depressed that I was literally at the point of like unaliving. And I was just like, I can't take
Thanks.
this shit no more. I can't
I was
take it.
there too.
1 week in, I was like, nah. They was like, take it, it's gonna get better. I was like, fuck you, bitch.
Hell
And
no.
I tripped out. I was like, nah, I'm not doing this no more. And that's the last time I went to therapy. And I'm going back next week. I have an appointment. So I'm trying, but I also know that when it comes to medication, if you have a hormonal or emotional imbalance in yourself already and they give you something that's supposed to fix it, it's going to sharp incline down, sharp incline up, and then like 3-4 months later it's going to be a median, like a kind of level. It's going to level out, but I don't want to have that dependency. You get me?
yes,
So
I feel you 100%. The first therapist or psychologist that I had was when I decided I was gonna get off of dope. I did that shit cold turkey. I put myself in a Job Corps program, and as soon as I went into the program,
congratulations.
exactly. They put me as soon as I get into this fucking bum ass program, they tell me I got all kinds of issues and they put me with this psychologist. And the psychologist, it was like talking to a brick wall. There was no connection to it. He was like, okay, you got this and you got that, so I'm gonna give you this and that. This fool literally gave me my drugs of choice in pill form and told me that that was the cure. Like, how you expect me to? I just got off of crystal. I just got off of fucking Xanax, and you just gonna give me the shit? What the fuck? How does that make any type of fucking sense? I don't want no dependency to that shit. And I've been ducking therapy and medication for the last 7 years because of that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I just do this shit raw dog.
I think that it's like that's the pharmaceutical industry. They're trying to like push pills on you and push pills down on you in order for you to have that dependency, but the inability to regulate your own kind of emotional level tends to gear back to how you perceive, understand, and react to stimulants and things that are going on around you, and instead of people, I wish we had a more naturopathic kind of way of medicine where we don't treat the disease or the cause, but we treat the effect. But it seems to be also prevalent in like therapy and mental health. They just like, here go a pill, you be all right. Bitch, that ain't gonna work. I
Man,
got
that shit ain't
pills,
gonna
bitch.
work.
I can go around the corner. I can
I'm
call
just gonna
somebody. They
crush it
drop
up
the
with my
pills off,
addict
bitch.
ass. And yo,
Bitch, I got
Papo, if you
weed
want,
so powerful, it'll make you sit down for 4 hours straight, bitch. What you mean? You
yo,
gonna give me
that shit
drugs?
is not the same as it used to be. Look, I used to smoke like a chimney, yo. I used to smoke 24/7, 365. Now I can't do it. I smoke before I go to bed because I know once I smoke, my brain's done. I'm not having conversations. I'm not moving around. I'm going to sleep. This weed that they got these
Right.
days, oh my God, it's something else. But yeah, Papo, if you I see you said we have a similar story, bro. So if you want to touch on that, you absolutely can, bro.
Now, what you described, like, you know what I mean? Getting off well, I was on pills, you know what I mean? Getting off of
Mhm.
that and getting my GD. Similar situation. That's what I was saying. You know what I mean? And
I
how,
got you. I
like,
got you.
when you go to therapy, there was a person from like Job Corps at first. They had this program called Phoenix Program, and they approached me. They was like, "Yo, you should." When I went over there, like they basically trying to like, you know what I mean, like wean me off of the shit, and then, but essentially give me the same substance in a different form, cause methadone and all of that makes you, I don't know if you ever experienced that. It makes you
Mm-mm.
sick as hell. Like with
I
me,
ain't
my
for
first
that
time.
shit.
And then like I regret ever even like diving down that road with accepting their help like in medication form. They also prescribed to me Xanax and Xanax and Clonopins. Yo,
Ooh,
bro, yo, they
what?
gave me essentially. So I was a teenager, right? Yo, I'm talking about I'm 17, and they gave me a cocktail, bro. You see what I'm saying? So they gave me the Johnnies and all of that. I'm like, yo, now now that I'm older, I look back and them people like there was just straight abuse. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But because I was very religious because of my grandfather, I really truly had a hardcore belief in a God and a higher power. Like
hmm
I looked towards that and I said, you know what? Like, let me do what Jesus did. And they fast 40 days and 40 nights on water, and that's how I got off clean.
fact,
Cold
40
turkey. Yeah.
days.
Yep, just straight water. Swear to God, I turned green. Listen, you know how that shit is hell, man.
Uh-huh.
Every time you live through hell again and again. But my mindset, yo, it was wild. You know how it messes with your mind. I was convinced that it was a spiritual, a war. It wasn't physical. It had nothing to do with anything else. And that mindset helped me battle it. You see what I'm saying? So
That's what got me. That's what got me off the crystal, bro. Because I used to smoke a lot of crystal, bro, and I'd stay up for a long time, brother. I mean, the longest I ever stayed up was like a month and 2 weeks with no sleep. You know what I mean? When you're on that shit eating. So I'm fasting and I'm not sleeping. And I was seeing all kinds of shit. I was hearing all kinds of shit and just going through it, bro. And I really started like just thinking this is some spiritual shit. Like I know I'm high as fuck right now. I was able to have those thoughts. I know I'm higher than shit. I know I'm delusional as shit right now, but what I'm seeing, what I'm experiencing right now, this is spiritual warfare. And I need to get off this dope in order to win this battle. And that's really what got me through it, bro. I never went to treatment. I never went to detox. I did go to Job Corps and I cold turkeyed that shit. And I just got through it with my own fucking mind, bro. It's real shit. I like that you said that.
I like that. I like hearing that, man, because there's a lot of people in these programs that believe that it is not possible to do a cold turkey. So people like us is like we need to speak up and let other people know that are going through it that think that they can't leave it cold turkey. You know what I mean? They actually think that it's dangerous because the some of the professionals, quote unquote professionals in there, they also think that it's dangerous because of the reaction. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm
But nah, you know what I mean? It's gonna hurt.
It's the mental
It's gonna
over the
hurt.
spiritual, and that is the battle, and that is the battle that you have to have. And I think that if I was supposed to be here for a certain reason, because I was taught that like it's all mental, and it doesn't mean that I am the best practitioner, uh you know walking in the way that I have been aware of in many years in my life. I had one experience with that, and it wasn't by choice. It wasn't something that I tried to do. I was a teenager, and I got mono. Hitting J's with people. Didn't even realize it. Was sick. It took me about 12 days to realize that I was tired. My thought wasn't eating. My whole throat was like fucking. It was scabbing. It was bad. I couldn't eat. I couldn't move. I was skipping school. It was my teenage years. I was bullied. It was a whole rack of stuff going on with me. I didn't want to go to school any motherfucking way. I was already skipping, smoking weed and shit. So my mother was like, "You just ain't want to go to school." I was literally wasting away. I lost like 35 pounds. I was literally like 98 pounds, and I almost died because I didn't go to the hospital, and I had to literally faint in front of my mother for her to realize that the shit was real. And like I was seeing stuff, hearing stuff. I was on a whole nother like level with it, and I had no idea what exactly was going on or why I was saying what I was saying. It was definitely an experience for me. I didn't choose to do that, but I think that choice to take away the stimulants in your body and to like just to focus on you and to be one and be aware with yourself puts you on another level. If you were to fast from food, you were to fast from water, and you were to just your body just starts to function in a different way where your awareness just opens up.
That's facts. I 100% believe that shit. Once the stimulants get out of your body, you go through a whole nother spiritual type of experience. And it man, I used to have dreams for like 2.5, maybe 3 years after I got off the stimulants, and I just have dreams of me smoking. You know what I'm saying? And my mind, my thoughts, like it's a different type of withdrawal. Like I had the Xanax withdrawal at the same time as I had the crystal withdrawal, but it's not physical. I mean, there's physical aspects to it, but the mental shit that you go through is really like you got a demon in your head. Like it's really like a puppet show, and the demon's just controlling your thoughts. You feel what I'm saying? Like it's a trip. It's a trip. And if you
Like
can
that
gain the
on.
strength to get through that without no help other than yourself and your own mind, you counteract your own mind. You become so much stronger. It's a whole spiritual experience within itself.
I think addiction is like that. I stopped. I used to smoke weed heavy. I just stopped smoking weed. Like I'm a drinker right now, and like I drink when I don't drink. I have days where it's just like you need to drink. Like it's just like a fucking whisper in my head. Go get something to drink. And I'm still
Hmm.
fighting that. I'm still trying to be stronger than that. And I know it's not helping me the way that it's a downer. I'm already anxiety, depression, the gear or whatever. It's definitely not helping me in any way, shape or form or whatever. But it's a coping mechanism that I've been using to deal with my depression. And it's something that I got in my early to mid 20s where I'm just like, this shit not taking me nowhere. But guess what? I'm in a rat race and I'm going to be here for fucking perpetually ever. God damn it. And I think that's another issue that a lot of, people in the United States of America feel ever since the downturn of the middle class and we can't buy houses like our parents could and education being so expensive and all these other things. I feel like a lot of like people in our age group are just like, fuck it, I'm gonna do this forever. Might as well do something for me, and it ends up being
Pretty much.
something that is extremely destructive.
Yeah. And that was kind of my mind.
Okay.
I had parents was addicts. Both my parents was on crack, and I made it to 17 before I started doing anything. Like I was hardcore against everything. I was like, I ain't even gonna smoke a cigarette. I always been smoking flower though, but for everything else, I was like, hell no, hell no. But then once I dived into it, I think the first thing I did was LSD. And after I did that, it was like, fuck it, I'm
Damn,
gonna do everything else, and I'm just
damn,
gonna
you
do
went
this until
hard.
I die.
Yo, you went hard, huh?
Hmm.
How the heck?
Yeah,
You might as well said DMT.
yo,
How the heck you start with
yo, that's
LSD?
what. Listen, you did that at 17.
yeah.
This
Yo,
man was listening to the
I'm
Beatles.
scared just thinking about it now. Me now, even the thought of doing that scares me. And you did
No
that.
shit. Yo, dead ass. If the look, and I'll tell you like this. I've been clean for 7 years. If I didn't have kids, and a family, when I get older, when I'm an old man, you know what I'm saying? If there's anything that I might do one or two more times, it would be LSD. Over shrooms, over anything else. I don't know, man. That shit, it's a whole experience in itself, man. It
I,
really is.
I heard. I'm thinking of doing an ayahuasca, like something like that.
Ooh,
I
you
heard it's
scared of
smooth.
LSD, boy? What the? You scared of LSD, but you want to do ayahuasca? You don't know what you in for.
That shit is
Listen,
powerful.
because I feel like because ayahuasca is natural, you know what I mean? It comes
Nah,
from
nigga,
plants and everything.
mushroom was natural too, cuz. What you talking about? I done
LSD is
watched things like
natural.
DMT in natural form. DMT is like that, like TNT, bruh.
Nah,
Hold
don't
up.
scare me. Don't scare me now, because I'm gonna.
I'm sorry.
I think I'm
LSD
going.
came
Sorry.
out of the African rainforest.
Damn.
Wait, what?
Yo, but you know what I tried that I was like, listen, I wasn't ready for is the shrooms, and I did it. You know why I did it? I did it on purpose because I heard that there's some chemicals in there that help heal PTSD, and it'll help
Ah.
you.
Yeah.
And and actually, like, listen, I'm not like promoting it or nothing, but like the purpose that I did it for, and I only like did it once. I went hard, and yeah, man, that thing, whew, It was scary at first, man.
I mean, there's some studies coming out of Colorado about the benefits of I can't remember the psychedelic or whatever. Well, basically mushrooms.
Psilocybin,
It's the
psilocybin.
active compound.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the active component in mushrooms being something that helps to counteract depression and many other things, but it's only for a few months of longevity. Like, so if you do it like every 6 months, it helps, kind of thing. But that's another thing, every 6 months and it helps. It's also something that just helps you regulate instead of helping you understand and compute the problem and what you're going through naturally. That's another coping mechanism. What you don't
Mm-hmm.
need is coping mechanisms. What you don't need is mental crutches on by the wayside of drugs and other things that'll just take you away from your full self and your full understanding of everything that you're going through and being
Good
able to
point.
process your emotions and what you're seeing and what you're dealing with and handle them and internalize them and react in a healthy, natural way. Not saying that the way people react is unhealthy and unnatural all the time, because people have a lot of fucked up thoughts and fucked up ways or whatever. I ain't gonna lie, I will roast the motherfucker across. That shit is not. I shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
That's not
Hey, I,
healthy.
I do gotta
But
bring it up. I do gotta
it's
bring it up,
just
Doja.
it is human nature sometimes, but you also have to realize that that shit ain't right, even if you have the inclination to do it, and that is a part of self-control.
Speaking about you roasting people, Doja, I gotta bring it up. I don't know if you realize or not, but this is Cuba Talks. You haven't been in my live for a long time, but you follow me.
Oh,
You
what's
remember?
up?
What's up? Yeah, she was in my live like shit. I want to say 3 months ago, and you was just roasting motherfuckers for
I ain't
like
gonna
two,
lie, I was.
3 hours. Had me
Yo,
in
I could tell because
tears.
she came in spicy on this live. I was like, yo.
I gotta control myself sometimes because I just be like, you know what? I gotta be at peace. I have to be at peace with other people. I gotta be positive or whatever. I really want to say what's important and not just the first thing that comes to my mind. And I'm really working on controlling my verbiage and how I offend and talk to other people. That's why I'm sorry, Shannon. I will, I stick to my
You're
point
fine,
where,
baby doll.
I stick to my point where I was just like, that's a contradiction. But I could have said it in a different way, and I don't want to offend you. I just wanted to point that out, and I want us to be able to have a constructive conversation about it. And
I'm not.
afterwards, my first instinct, I'm from DC. We be firing people up, or like the way I talk to somebody might be, kind of aggressive or like offensive. I'm used to being your big head ass, your motherfucking no neck having ass, motherfucker, you motherfucking, kind of shit. Like, and still being able to have a constructive conversation, or and acknowledge and accept that person for who they are afterwards. It's just the tough love is what it is, and I'm sorry, I gotta work on that because that
It's
is a
all
type of
good.
communication that is not healthy, and I'm working on not, being the unhealthy person in the conversation.
Sad part
Absolutely.
is though is on this app you got so many hard-headed people that sometimes you gotta light them up to get their attention, and then once you got their attention, if they shut up long enough, you can get them to actually listen. Me, I've mastered this shit. You can ask Cuba. I'm the first to roast somebody, and I take shots, and I give them just as good as I get them. And sometimes I get out of hand. We ain't gonna talk about that. Uh, you know, but I'm all about trying to, like I told bro earlier, trying to help people get through whatever they got going on, or trying to be a positive impact. But you cross that line with me, you disrespect me, or you come at me sideways, you gonna get it just as good as you giving it. I don't care who you are, and sadly, that's how you have to be with people on these apps because they hide behind that anonymity and they don't want to hear what you have to say, until you put them in their place. Sometimes that's for the knuckleheads, just saying. You
Yep.
know.
That's big facts. You almost gotta embarrass them up. Most of these people that be on this apps, especially the debaters, you gotta embarrass those motherfuckers to make
Yeah,
them shut up.
Oh,
damn right.
you gotta love we've got names for them. You got the definition bros,
Oh my
philosophy
god.
bros,
Nah,
but
what,
just trying to wrap my head around everything everybody's been saying. And I was gonna bring up a point that's kind of in line and maybe bring us back to our original topic. It's basically of a yin and a yang. We have two sides to our essence as humans. We have what's called the affective side, and we have what's called the cognitive side. Cognitive side, that's your logical, mental um, processing side. Then your affective side is more your emotional processing side. And by
right.
far, your affective side is much stronger than your cognitive side, and your affective side is also the side of you that connects with spirituality.
Well, it's more of your primal
And
side that we're connected to, sadly. But I get what you're saying.
but your emotional the emotional side of you is stronger. Your logical side would say I shouldn't shoot this guy with a gun. Your emotion would say he's sleeping with my wife.
Uh, you
So
just had to
you
bring out
understand
the
what I'm
people.
saying. The emotional side is stronger, and it's also your spiritual side. Is comes out of your emotional side, and that's what I think we're missing. Is people are missing that spiritual connection, that emotional connection, that connection to the part of them that gives them their internal resolve.
Oh, of course.
I would
Jordan
agree,
Peterson.
especially men. Yeah, I feel like a lot of men are missing they're misfiring that emotional connection. I think that's 100% factual.
Well, in today's society, a lot of
But
men
I
don't.
need
A
to
lot of
know
men don't have
why
that
men,
foundational
why
connection. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your peace, love. I just was going to say that men in today's day and age, they don't have that solid foundation to them and purpose. A man has to have purpose. Jordan Peterson said it best. He said, "Until you know what you are fully capable of as a human, you will not grow mentally. Until you realize what you are fully capable of, you will not grow. You will stay where you are at, stay in your ways, your coping skills, your comfort zone, your toxic, whatever that you have going on, the insanity circles that you run in life, the circles of people that you have around you, the circumstances around you. If you allow it, all that background noise will drive you nuts. And if you allow the world to sink its claws into you, you will be a very depressed and dismal person. But if you look into the abyss long enough and into the darkness long enough, you will find out that there is light on the other side of it. You just got to face everything that you've been pushing down. Everybody pushes things down because
Everything
we've
said
been
that
taught our
shit.
societal structure. We've been taught to push everything down, hide our emotions, don't deal with it, save it for later, that kind of thing. Instead of being open about our emotions and what we feel and saying it on the spot. Instead, we torture ourselves and let it roll around our conscience for hours, and that's not good. It's not good.
I mean, when it
And
comes to
you
like
said
the
Pedersen said
lack
that shit,
of,
Johnny.
Huh?
You said Jordan Pedersen said that shit.
Yeah, Jordan Peterson, man. If you haven't checked his content out, dude has
Oh, I
dedicated.
be
he's
peeping.
dope. He's
Yeah,
definitely dope.
he's dedicated like over 30 years of his life to the social psychology construct of trauma, healing, addiction. I mean, you name it. And like, dude is on point with everything he says. Like, yeah.
I feel like that men have a different understanding of like how to deal with the social and the status expectations that they deal with, and even women. I feel like the difference between men and women is that like we are more I won't say like malleable, but like more accommodating to the different situations or the different ways that we have to deal with different things, where men they're just like, I only have one way to deal with this emotion. Like I only have one way to deal with this is the only way I can deal with this situation, and that is the way of a man, or a true man, or what I know a man to be. And a woman is like, oh, I can be this way and that way, or I get up and get this money and do what I need to do for my family kind of thing. Or, I can be a woman and be, this way and be working or work off of things that I feel are emotionally driven and stuff. Or I can think concise and clear and make my decision based upon my need versus me using my emotional side as a woman. And I feel like men feel like they are so trapped to the point where when they even have the inclining or the need to even express themselves or to deal with their emotion or emotive side, they feel like they can't. And that was never an option. And that's what cripples a lot of men, because they don't get to explore the emotions that they have. That further puts them back into the box of, I'm a man, I can't show emotion. This is how I need to deal with things. And then that's it's it's hurtful, it's really messed up.
Well, the
Right. And
doorways aren't there.
a lot of us, like, you know what I mean? Like myself, like my pops, he's a very aggressive Cuban man. If y'all know anything about Cubans or Cuban men in general, they're very angry most of the time. Uh, he's always, he was also a head. Everything you could think of, a pimp, everything you could think of, he was that. He was a fucking terrible person, and he taught me to be like that from a very young age. And when you grow up as a child already with that mindset of I can't feel emotion, you become an adult and you become a monster because you never got to deal with those types of emotions. I feel like that's where a lot of sociopathic people come from, those types of childhood. And it honestly, it took me till I was 25, and I got with my woman to be able to start experiencing like emotion and being able to start processing trauma and being able to start like being able to slightly express myself. I still can't like really talk about certain things. I'd rather just like leave me the fuck alone. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, it's crazy shit. Man.
I feel like
I
as
wish
a
it
woman,
was like that.
I feel like as a woman, I was very when I was growing up, I was very emotional. I was very like open. I like talked a lot about my emotions and stuff like that. And people told me like, "Oh, you're emotional and you're this and you're that." Nowadays, my friends who have known me since I was younger, they just like, "Why are you like this? Like, you don't talk about this. You're not like this, you're not like that." I'm just like, I got shit to do, you know? Like I cry later. I got shit to do. What you want me to
Right.
cry to work, bitch? You want me to not do my job? You want me to not be focused and make sure I pay these bills? You want me to do everything else but do what I need to do. What I need to do is regulate my emotions and be in control of the situations that I can control. And sometimes when you deal with life and you're in situations that you cannot control from a very early age, you learn to control the shit out of doing. Just I got my own little issues, but at the end of the day, I'm just like, bro, like y'all can do whatever y'all about to do. I'm about to chill. Like I can't react too much off of this or whatever because I feel like it's gonna put me in a space or whatever. I gotta mentally think about things before I act about them. Because I know that my emotions will
Right.
get me
Well,
in a fucking
I
state that I
know
don't want
me
to be.
personally, I'm real big on nowadays that I guess you could say essence.
Oh shit, Johnny done cut out. I do want to I'm gonna give Kamaria a chance to speak, but I do just want to bring up this comment because it leads to a good point. My girl Lulu said, Q is a way calmer person now because I chose to understand where he came from rather than point fingers at him. And that brings up the conversation that me and Shannon were kind of having earlier of how like how a woman can kind of fix a man that's like that, right? As long as they're not trying to fix, right? Because I've been with women, obviously, I've been with women before my wife now, and the issue with them was is they was always trying to fix me. They was always trying to change me, and that shit just like used to piss me off. But she didn't never, not one time in our relationship, not one time ever has she ever been like, I don't like this. You need to change that. It's always like she asked me questions, and at first in the beginning of the relationship, it's like, why are you asking me these questions? Why are you trying to get to know me like that? This shit's weird to me. But then like when you get to the point where you let that in, like I said, it cures all that bullshit. Like I now know how to experience emotion. I now know how to process some of my traumas.
I'm glad because basically she therapized the shit out you and let you come to your own pretenses instead of trying to tell you what the fuck you need to do. She gave you prompts and asked you questions
Yep,
that made you think about those things and internally. And that's one of the
exactly.
best things you can do for somebody who's going through those situations instead of being judgmental, angry, all of these other things. I don't want to hear that, bitch. I'm trying to cope. Fuck you, bitch.
Yep,
I'm about to hit this J. Like what the fuck? If I don't hit this J, I'ma cuss you out. Which one you want? Smokes the J.
yep,
Like you
exactly.
deal with that, like you deal with that with a lot of people in your life that, are they want the best for you, but they don't know how to encourage you to want the best for yourself.
Exactly.
And that's hard because when you want the best for somebody else, instead of telling them that they're horrible, that they're trash, that they're not doing what you think that they should be doing, all these judgmental and conditional love, things that they would try to put on you, like, oh, because you're like this, I can't do this because of the way you are. That's a representation of not a form of love that bruise and help someone grow. Like, what the fuck, bitch? I don't need you anyway, bitch. Oh, you gonna treat me like this because I'm like this? Fuck you then. I'm out. Like it's like I don't need you, bitch. I ain't need you in the first place, that hoe. Kind of thing. Instead of somebody actually making you think and internalize on what you can do to be a better person, and
Mhm.
not putting it in a scheme of like, if you don't do this, then I won't be there for you, or I won't love you, and the ways that you need or whatever. I feel like people, when they deal with somebody who's an addict or who has an addiction, they tend to treat them like, what, this is the end all and be all, and if you don't do this and you don't do it this way, the way I want you to do it or whatever, then I'm cutting you off. And then that person ends up in a further spiral because the type of connections and those things that they have when it comes to other relationships in their life getting cut off leads them to be even more fucked up and depressed, which leads them to use more. Like, I feel like it's wild. Like, I don't know why that was ever the intervention is not the way. Tricking a motherfucker into thinking about how much they
Yeah.
want to change and be better, that is the way. Therapize the shit out your friends
Hey,
and family,
y'all want
okay?
to hear something crazy? That show Intervention, I was on that shit. My homegirl
Bruh.
was on. Look, my homegirl was on Intervention back in the day when it happened, and I didn't know it. And in the video, in the documentary, you can look it up and see it. She pulled up to the store to buy some stuff, and guess who pulls up in an Escalade, smoke rolling out the window, hops out. Yeah, me coming to meet her to sell her some stuff, and I didn't know she had him filming
Hell
in the
to the
back seat.
no.
Stop
Yeah,
playing with me. What episode?
and then I swear to God, it was like season 2 when it first came out. Yeah, Intervention. Yeah, Kayleen Banks, John and George
Kayleen
Thomas,
Banks.
twins. Yeah, it's
I'm
a
looking at
blonde haired
Googles
white
right
girl
now.
and 2 twins. Yeah, I was so mad when I seen that shit on TV. I was like, yo, I should sue the hell out of y'all for that. Y'all got
Okay.
Should have got paid
incriminating
for that,
stuff.
honey. You should have got paid for that. You were on TV.
that.
I know, right?
Letter is it called Letters to Kayleen?
Yeah, that's
Oh
exactly
shit.
it. I swear
All
to
right,
God.
bet,
Okay.
bet. What's up,
Shannon.
Kamari? What's up, Kamari? Wait for a minute. So
Oh,
what's up, Kamari? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing fine. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. Just you see what I'm doing. I'm switching it up from what I usually do.
Hmm? Okay, so I just want to say congratulations, Lulu, on the 10,000 followers.
Oh, congrats! Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Whoa,
I'm
what?
sorry. I
You
mean the
definitely
1,000,
what?
like the 1,000, the 1,000. Sorry, sorry. I just got off of work.
Oh
I'm sorry.
shit!
The
I was about
1,000.
to say, damn.
I
Come
was
on.
like, damn. She got more
Like 1,000.
followers
I'm sorry.
than
I just
me.
got off of work. I'm
What?
fucking tired of shit. I'm fucking tired of shit. You know, like running around, like giving fast food to fat people. So, anyways, like I was saying, okay. So, like I was so I was here initially talking about like we're talking about men's mental health. Okay, so I think a good factor in the reason why men have such horrible mental health nowadays is a lack of fathering because because I mean like looking at it realistically and what like what I'm about to say is gonna like piss a lot of people off, but I don't care. Um, a woman cannot really raise a man to be a man without there actually being a man in there. Like there has to be a man who actually knows what it's like to be a man in the life. But of course, like without that, then a man does not know, or a young boy, a young adolescent will not know how to navigate through his life. And there needs to be somebody there who will help him navigate through his life. But
Very
whenever there's
true.
like nobody to do that, like you're here, like you don't know how to process your emotions. You do not know how to like you have like no role model to teach you how to be like how to navigate through life. And at this point, you don't know what to do, so you just unalive yourself.
I feel like that is a very that was a very you knew you was gonna piss people off when you said that. That's why you said that, okay?
Well,
And that's
see,
why you said it the way you said it. But I will also say I understand what you're saying, but that not everywhere because a lot of men had father figures, and their father figures were worse than them with expressing
but
their emotions, with being able to handle their emotions. That's why we got a lot of men who grew up with like abusive dads, that were verbally and physically abusive to their moms, to their kids, and all of that because they didn't understand how to handle their emotions and they didn't learn how to be a man. Now, the thing is, there are a lot of men who are having kids that aren't actually the men that they say they are. And what is the definition of man? Because a man, if you say a man is somebody who takes care of everything and does what they're supposed to do. That's also a representation of a man that doesn't take care of their self holistically and spiritually and doesn't have a good take on their
Bingo.
emotions because they put their stuff to the side in order to handle what they need to handle. So tell me what a man is really supposed to be and how a man is actually supposed to show a man how to be a man without acknowledging the person that man is. And that's one of the reasons we have such a big issue in this society because you make him a man instead of making him a person and somebody who has actually actual feelings. That fucking pedestal destroys souls at a young
well,
age because these young boys are 4 years old and they falling on the playground and they not supposed to fucking cry. Shut the fuck up on that, bro. Okay? It hurts, god damn it. It fucking
She
hurts.
ate
It's
that
okay,
up,
baby.
yo.
Get up. It's gonna be okay. You're gonna be all right. That's what the fuck you tell them. Not don't fucking cry. Fuck you talk about.
thing
That's
is,
exact.
like, I completely agree with Kamari on what he said for the simple fact that there are certain male traits and characteristics that you don't get if you don't have a proper father figure in the home. Now, peace, love, what you mentioned, like, when you have a toxic male figure in the home, it's worse. That's what I call the contradictory of the sword of Damocles. You'll get cut on both sides. If you don't have a father figure, be emotionally unstable because you are a man being raised by a woman. So therefore, you will logically in your mind have the conscious and personality traits of your mother as you grow up. But turn around, if you have a toxic father figure in the home, you'll get his traits, and it'll be even worse than what it would have been if you would have just had just your mom. And that is the double cut that happens, sadly. And in today's society, like I said earlier, most men don't have a foundation or a resonance with their purpose in life. And that in itself messes up the construct of their mental health and the wholeness of it. If you don't have purpose and you don't have a solid foundation, how can you thrive in life or teach others anything?
Okay,
Because
and
in order,
notice. Okay,
well, I'm
well, and
saying,
notice how I said having a father. I said having a father figure. I did not like. I'm not talking about horrible fathers. Like those don't count because those are not good father figures. I said
right.
having a role. having a role model who is a good man, those are the people. But I did not say, just having a dad
No, I
period.
know you didn't. I was covering what Peace Love said when she was talking about having a toxic father figure in the
Yeah, but
home.
when you say
I
father
was,
figure, you did not specify whether the father figure was a good father
well,
figure or
I
a bad father figure.
apologize.
You just
Maybe I should.
specified that a father figure was
Okay.
necessary. You didn't say to the scheme of whether they were good or bad. And then that is a variable that is based on other people's childhoods and understanding of what a father is supposed to do for their child, which is another reason why I mentioned men and what all men are supposed to be versus men as people. Because if a man is supposed to be a man and they're allowed to be a man but not a person, then that's what messes stuff up.
Well, have you noticed, Peace Love, from what you've ever seen in life, a child will act completely different around a male or female child. It doesn't matter. They act differently around a man or a father figure in the home or a male that is in the home than they do around the female. It's just a natural thing. Now, at the end of the day, though, we all have that inner child. If you grow up and you have no father figure in the home or no mother in the home, you're being raised by your father, or you're a single parent home, either way, or you're raised by a toxic father figure, it doesn't matter, either one. If you push things down and you are not taught at a young age to have healthy coping skills and a very healthy solid way of navigating through life, then yes, you're going to push a lot of shit down and you're going to suffocate and bury your inner child. And I'm big on that because most people that are addicts or have mental health problems, especially men, never get in touch with their inner child and say, I'm sorry for letting you down. And actually giving themselves reprieve and giving themselves leniency for the emotional things that they go through. Because we are hard on ourselves more than anybody else could ever be. A man will be 10 times harder on himself than anybody else around him. And you'll never hear him say a word. He will scream silently because he knows at the end of the day that he can't trust what he's feeling with the people around him in most scenarios, in most cases. They can't
Brother,
handle it.
you hit that on the head, brother. You hit that on the motherfucking head, bro. I couldn't have said that shit any better myself, dog.
And to
So,
piggyback on what Peace Love said, she mentioned the word spirituality, which can be better defined as a quest for wisdom or obtaining wisdom.
hey,
And
Tina,
so, how
what's up, baby
important do
girl?
you think that is to what we're talking about today?
I'm sorry, I would not define spirituality as a quest for wisdom versus a foundation in wisdom. A
Okay,
foundation
I
of
like that better.
faith, something that you already know. You get me? Like you can be questing for more wisdom, but if you don't have that foundation, then that foundation won't hold you to, it won't ground you while you're searching for more wisdom. And I grew up in a Christian household, you get me? So I grew up with people that didn't have none of that at home. They didn't go to church, they didn't pray, they didn't know scripture, they didn't know none of that, and they were just living. And I was baffled by how that was normal. You get me? And I'm not saying that it's something that people can't come out of and find their own grounding. You get me? But I also realize that having a spiritual foundation at a young age or a moral compass rooted in spiritualism in some ways helps many people, and not all people but many people, because I do know stories of people who have been so shamed and misunderstood and upset about their own issues and their own sin, that they have completely disregarded the things that they have been taught in order to go different routes, and have been and done things that they were taught they shouldn't do, or indulged in things that they were taught that they shouldn't do, and realize that, like, oh, I'm gonna fuck up anyway, I'm gonna just keep fucking up, kind of thing, and just go crazy it and just completely disregard it. And that's a misunderstanding of the relationship that you have with, you know, your spiritualism and your understanding and your belief in yourself to make change and to make peace with who you are and who you are trying to be.
Hey, I gotta roll, y'all. I'll be back. I got a phone call to take.
Okay.
You good, brother? We'll catch you in a minute, dog.
So I want to catch it from a male's perspective. How important is spirituality or a spiritual wisdom to mental health
Mm,
for
for
you?
me, for me personally, spirituality is important to me. It's a big part of who I am, but I don't see an importance when it comes to mental health. I mean, like identity, I guess, but like when it comes to the like overall mental health, I just don't see how that ties in.
Facts.
Okay, listen, y'all already know that I'm a good Catholic boy. Like none like that spiritual voodoo stuff. I'm a good Catholic boy. I am a good Catholic schoolboy. That is what I am. I am a good boy. I'm just playing. I'm just
You
playing.
know, you can still be Catholic and have like spiritual people like instantly jump to like voodoo and Santeria and magic like when they talk about spirituality, but you could practice Catholicism and still be spiritual, brother.
Yeah, no,
Well,
yeah.
I'm not trying to jump to any religion. My basis would be apostolic Pentecostal. Um, but I definitely want to equate spirituality with some sense of wisdom.
Yeah, no, I can see where you're coming from that standpoint. Um,
Okay, but
it's
here's
a
the thing
different
about it though.
it's a different type of wisdom though. You know what I mean? Like emotional wisdom, like historical wisdom, mental health, emotional wisdom. They're all different from each other. That's just my personal opinion on it.
Well,
Right.
okay, well, here's the thing about me though. Like, I've never really been, a spirituality person. Even like whenever I was younger, like I've always thought that astrology was complete. I thought that astrology was fake. I mean, I guess that the zodiac signs are cool and whatever. And I guess I'm an Aquarius, but I've always, yeah, I've never been, a big, a zodiac person. I've never, crystals. I've never, gotten into any of that kind of stuff. I mean, crystals. I mean, like they're cool. I love amethyst. They're pretty, but I don't know. I guess spirituality is just, it just isn't for me.
And it
It's
depends
not
how you
for
define
everybody, bro.
spirituality as well. Like there's a lot of misnomer. Like, spirituality, some people attribute it to like, like what you mentioned, like voodoo and all kinds
Crystals
of
and
things like that,
zodiac.
and
Yeah, that spiritualism.
psychomancy. But
Uh,
in this sense, I kind of thought that I understood where you were going in regards to mental health, but it kind of went like a different direction. Like mental health, we gotta like simplify it because the thing is, a lot of times that when we do an introspective analysis, the more we complicate it, the more like we go down the rabbit hole, it doesn't make things better. You know what I mean? We get locked
yeah.
in. So if we add in spirituality, we add in this and that. Nah, like we gotta try to simplify it. That's another thing that I wanted to bring up, Cuba. Like, cause if we try to like put all these names and everything to it, but not defining what and trying to understand what we're actually experiencing, it's not gonna help. You see what I'm saying? Because we're still not understanding
God.
what the
He
individual
said
experience
God
is. You see what I'm saying?
led you to your peace, your mental peace. God taught you, and you leaned on God instead of leaning on your own understanding. Like you gave him the opportunity to help you, and you leaned on what you learned and what you knew from him and his teachings. Like a lot of people chose to use God as their rock and their foundation when they didn't have that in their lives and they didn't have people around them to help them and lead them and guide them. And the people that lead you and guide you sometimes are the people that, don't have a good foundation. When you don't have a trust in people, trusting in God is way easier, Mo. It's way easier. Just to simplify it a little bit, somebody said I go to the gym for my mental, which
Yeah,
is
that's Yeah, that's really good. Like I mentioned a story earlier about how like I was going through something with withdrawals and everything and getting off of a substance, and I used like the story of Jesus as reference because it showed me like, hey, there might be power within fasting. And then I went into that fasting and that helped me out. But it really came from the practical application of what I heard. I don't think we have to go outside of like, oh God, or some spiritual. And you understand what I'm saying? Like it came into
Hmm.
it was a practical application. I went directly, okay, this substance is causing a hindrance in my life. I mean, and it's not letting me get to where I need to be. You know what I mean? So then I try to analyze and use things that I heard as guidance because I didn't have like a father figure that I could call and be like, yo, I'm feeling like this and that. Like I ain't had nobody. So who did I have to go to? Like what had taught me what I knew so far within my morals and my ethics, which came from Pentecostal churches. He had passed away by then, but I used it as reference to apply it because even when in the scriptures, right? I'm not, again, this is not me selling religion, but they say faith without works is dead. So really works is a big factor. You gotta like act. So that's what I mean in a practical sense. There's certain things you have to do for yourself that you can't neglect. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hmm. And on a spiritual aspect, right? Like double back to the spiritual thing, like you were going through some serious shit and you were looking for answers, and that's what came to you, correct? So like it's not even on a Bible aspect or a religion aspect. That's something that came to you, that was given to you, however the universe works, in order to help you get through your addiction. It made sense to you, therefore it came to you.
I also feel like when you said, you were you didn't have nobody to talk to and you ain't had nobody to go to, that also goes back to, understanding that it is very hard for men to talk to the people in their lives about what they're going through emotionally and spiritually without being judged and with a uplifting in an uplifting manner, you know. And I'm sorry you had to go that route. I'm sorry that you didn't feel like you had anybody that you can talk to about what you were going through at that time, because I understand how that feels. That's not cool. When you by yourself and you going through all these thoughts and stuff like that, and you in a dark place, it's not cool to be sitting in a fucking dark corner, bro.
Imagine that being dope sick, huh? Cuba being dope sick with no. That's the craziest feeling ever, man.
What'd you say?
Well,
Being dosed?
No, being dope sick, and then
Oh,
actually like going through that whole process. You see what I'm saying? You alone
that's
and
when
dope
it
sick.
happens, bro. Yeah, that's when your mind's most active. You know what I'm saying? That's when you're going through the most. That's when shit's gonna come to you when you're at your worst, bro. That's how it happened with me too. You know what I'm saying?
Shannon, what you got to say? Because I feel like
well,
you haven't really been able to communicate or say a lot. You haven't been saying a lot, and I'm trying to figure out how you feeling right now and where you come in with this.
well, kind of what I was kind of trying to get at, and that is that an actual connection with the creator. Um, Sometimes that comes in solitude, sometimes that comes through community. But I'm trying to connect whether or not a relationship with God, not just a going to church, but an actual obtaining of wisdom would be very beneficial to men's health.
Mm, I'm gonna let y'all go ahead and answer that one.
Well, I think that, having a relationship with or understanding, you know, where you came from or, your beliefs and understanding more about the world at large helps to center you as a person. It's like somebody not having a connection with the universe and taking shrooms for the first time. Bitch, I am the tree. I am the leaf. I am everything. Like you feel like you're everything, and that kind of grounds you. I think that's one of the reasons why they say mushrooms helps you with depression, because it gives you a sense of like I am everything, but it's all meant to be, and it all works. It kind of gives you a sense of calm when you're in touch with your spirituality, with your deity, whether it's God, whatever, kind of. I said God really strongly earlier and stuff. I don't want to offend people, but like, when you're in touch with your mission, or what you're supposed to be, or how like, and what your mission is on this earth, which is to love and help and heal, you know, then a lot of other things don't really bother you, because you already know what you're here for. It's like you get tunnel vision. And if you don't have a mission, or you don't understand what you're supposed to do or how you're supposed to do it, and you have a lot of confusion, then you end up in a place in space where you're just doing things to fill time, or you're just doing things to make you feel a type of way, because you don't already have pride, joy, love, respect for yourself and what you're trying to do. You're still trying to figure that out. So that's why I feel like it's also easier for you to be in those situations earlier on in your life, because you don't have that. You're a piece of Play-Doh when you're a kid. So if you don't have people
Well,
to, put you and help you and guide you in the right direction or whatever, you get in a situation where you just like, well, it's emotionally, you end up emotionally down, so to speak.
I ain't worried about it, bro. It's an incense. That's why I'm
Mhm.
sitting like this.
Yes, everybody. It's TikTok. It's an instant.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's my
So,
incense right here.
you know, as I mentioned before, I know like the mention of a relationship with God and faith, spirituality. Like once again, like there's certain practical applications of things that you learn even within certain scriptures or anything. You see what I'm saying? Like that teach you that there's certain things that you get exposed to that cause a certain reaction, a negative reaction. Like there's certain substances that may open you up to like negative reactions that you got to stay away from. So the practical application of certain things is a must. That's what I mean. Like sometimes we overcomplicate certain subjects and certain aspects of ourself within our mental health. And that's how we dive deep. You see what I'm saying? Like, for example, there's a lot of people that don't understand that pain is part of life. They think that pain is something that could be completely eliminated when it's
No.
something that is part of the human experience, and they don't understand that concept. That concept automatically triggers something in their brain that says that's abuse, that's unfair, that's not good, that's bad, therefore triggering your mental state to think that something is bad with you and you have something to do with it, you need to change it. Now, I'm not being a conformist, but at the same time there's certain things that we could better digest by understanding that it's part of life, right? Like human relationships is not really, black and white. It's very complicated, as I mentioned before, and that attributes also to the relationship that we have with ourselves.
So that would codify the quest of correct quest of happiness.
Can you elaborate that?
Okay. Well, is it more important to be happy or more important to be correct? To
Mm.
be right. Not
Some
right
people
like
are
right in an
happy,
argument, but right with yourself.
and again, how do you define happiness? Happiness at the moment, happiness in the long run. Some
In
people are
my
happy.
opinion, happiness is just a fleeting feeling, comes and goes. And if
Exactly.
your pursuit is for happiness, then your sense of accomplishment and sense of purpose is going to come and go. But if your pursuit is to just be correct for you, self-love. Understand yourself, understand what you're supposed to be, who you're supposed to be, how to be correct in society. That would make you much more beneficial than just pursuit of happiness.
But you said also self love and be like happiness for yourself, because if that's what you mean, you're redefining the same thing that you're talking against. You see what I'm saying, or you're speaking against. I don't know if I heard you properly. Like you said
Well,
I,
that.
self-love,
I think she means like just being right with yourself, like such as being confident, being
exactly.
capable, being loving of others and yourself. And I think I get what she's getting at here. I think that's where like true, genuine happiness starts at, is being right with yourself. If I'm wrong, go ahead and correct me.
No, no, you're elaborating on what I'm talking about.
Okay. Yeah, no, I
I
was just
think
trying to
that the
clear it up
very
with
fact that I think that the very fact that there's a contradiction between understanding and walking in your faith and being happy is a representation of a societal construct of judgment and being like, oh well, this and that or whatever. That's something that's learned. You get me? Like, and I think it is something that is learned from different spiritual channels of like, you're either this way or that way, and I'm gonna use this in order to persecute you, or in order to treat you as less than, and or treat you as if you are wrong or you're right, and this and that. And that is what causes people to act the way they act, because at the end of the day, me and my journey and my communication with God is different than yours.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
it's like, who cast the first stone? Why you throwing stones at me, baby? I'm chilling, or I'm trying to do everything I can do, or live the way that I can live to be as much of a positive force in this world as I can, you know and I feel like that's really what throws people off. It's sad, but I also kind of understand, you know but it's not supposed to be like that. It's not, because I can go to church right now, they'll turn the air on real extra cold or whatever, because if you wear a skirt a half an inch above your knee, then you're tempting a motherfucker. No, that motherfucker was a creep in the first place. God damn it. Fuck. I could have came in here with a whole sweater up to my neck. You'd be like, oh, she got the boombas up there. Like, no. Stop making people to, act the way they act, and then tell me I need to fucking change, kind
But
of thing. No.
what if
And
that
these the
create?
same
What
motherfuckers
if that?
who
But
telling me that I'm doing this and doing that, and that's the reason that I am the way the fuck I am. Get the fuck out my face.
let's
You
right.
you you gonna talk to God for me? You gonna be there at Judgment Day? Mind your.
But you do understand like certain human nature, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like some men, a lot of men, the majority of men, like with their eyes, there's a certain stimulation that comes from that. We can't shy away from that. So
There
what if?
was a
But wait,
study recently that said that men see women as objects instead of people. And it was a wild study. It was a study. It was
wait.
about the brain stimulation. And they put electrodes on men's head, and they figured out the type of the basic electron pattern that was identified when men were looking at things versus people. And they tested it by having men look and have conversations with other
All
men,
of these
and
things
men have
tie in
and
to
men
these
look at a
negative
ball and all these other things.
ideas about men. All of this ties into the negative ideas that this live is completely against these negative ideas about men. And what you're bringing in is that these ideas, you know what I mean? So they're gonna do studies to try to justify certain opinions. You see what I'm
But the
saying?
same thing is
Like
funny, because you just said that men
Yeah.
are a certain type. You brought into this conversation. Let me let you finish
I said, human
what you
nature.
were about to say about men.
I said human nature. when
Okay,
I met
so
her.
human
So
nature and men. So you're
I said
blaming
you would have
men's
to accept certain
behavior
things that
and
are
how they're
that's
wired
part
on
of human
human
nature.
nature?
Yes, certain things is part of human nature. I said, and I said, for example, then I added on that there's a lot of men that with their eyes, there's a certain happens. You see what I'm saying? So you have to understand why certain things are the way that they are. We don't make the rules. You see what I'm saying? Like
That
we were
that's a
born
cop
with
out.
Right,
certain certain ways.
well, no, I get what he's saying. I really do. He's like, he's not saying, the study is saying that we literally look at women the same way that we look at a chair. And that's not fair to say because I mean, like it's attraction. It's human nature for a woman to look at a man too and be attracted to that person and look at them a certain way, just the same way as it is a man towards a woman or even a gay man who looks at a man. It's natural. I don't see anything wrong with that. But to say that men look at women like the same way that they look as at objects, that's kind of ridiculous. And I don't know where that study came from, but it's just that doesn't make any sense.
That's not
No, these
true.
are
Men
part
don't
of
look at.
the negative stereotypes about men that don't help within the mental health of men. You see what I'm saying? You see how automatically a man will automatically become a creep because he's responding to the stimuli from like what he's consuming with his eyes. You see what I'm saying? So these are natural reactions. You see what I'm saying? And it's automatically you're deemed as like, whoa, why are you acting like this? Like, because you a man. That's how men act. You see what I'm saying? There's certain things that is natural. You see what I'm saying? More in one than others.
Mm. Okay, I do agree with like what you're saying. Like I do agree that men are gonna biologically act a certain way towards women. But where is a study that that excuse me that was okay. Okay, oh, that was hella embarrassing. But anyways, like where okay, where was the study you found that men view women like objects or whatever? Like where is the study? Like can you listen to the study to
Well,
me?
it is a fact that when a man looks at a woman, there are 7 different chemical reactions that happen in his brain. Women do not have that.
Yeah, I know. I'm a bio major. But
We
okay, no, but like there's like a difference between a man viewing a woman and a man viewing an object. He doesn't view a woman like an object.
No, I didn't say that. That was peace love. I think she went to look at the study.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
we
she
have
would.
yet to reconstruct the human brain.
Because I
So
want to see him
there's certain
maybe.
things we're not God to the point where we know exactly how things are wired. Certain things they may trigger similar parts of the brain. Maybe they found as like the same reaction that like men have when they see certain objects. Maybe the same region, but to say that it's the same thing is kind of like nah. It's a little bit. You're
No,
reaching a
that's
little bit.
just
You're trying to.
no, that's not true. Because because like a man is gonna be sexually attracted to a woman, and then like men also have a biological tendency to protect a woman. They don't have a biological tendency to protect an object. So I'm sorry, but I don't believe the study. I want to see who made this. I
Okay,
want to see who made
so
this.
I don't
I
believe in it.
posted. It says our brains see men as whole and women as parts, and it is a
Mhm. I think they're both looking at
Okay, so oopsie number one. This article ends in .com, so that's an oopsie number one.
the. All right, so
thing. That is societal. Because if you look at all the Instagram streams, if you look at all the Facebook streams, if you look at all the BBLs, if you look at all these
But
trends,
why
these
did
societal
women cover up
trends
in the Victorian
that
ages?
are
Why did they cover up?
objectifying. I'm
But
sorry.
why did women in the Victorian ages, for example, you see pictures, they cover up, and there was such a thing as like modesty. Like why were these concepts like even brought up? You see what I'm saying? And we weren't always this condensed around each other. You know what I mean? A lot has changed, especially since the industrial revolution. You know what I mean? In the
Are you
agriculture.
trying to
You know what I'm
explain?
trying to
Okay,
say?
so
Okay,
question.
okay, okay. So okay, so
All right,
here's a
we
question.
got sidetracked somewhere. Get us back on track.
No, that is part of this whole subject. Talk
here's a
about
problem.
men's reaction, like towards certain stimuli. This is part of the mental health because a lot of men are judged as being just reacting like normal to visual stimuli, as being like creeps and as something negative. So we're not being sidetracked at all. This is part of the conversation. These is part of the negative stereotypes against men.
Okay, so my question is, why would you bring up the Victorian era and women being covered up?
I'm just bringing up a reference because you say now because society, the Instagram, and I say wait, we could bring it back, and then we could see that you know what I mean. There was a reason why women were covered up, and the concept of modesty came about because there was something that even existed back then within the men. So it wasn't something within the society today. It's something that I say
Well, there's
that is
there's
biological.
been a
It's
complete
attraction.
shift
Can
in
you
society.
pinpoint the reason?
What do you mean biological? It's attraction. How do you think we gonna reproduce? Where do you think the chemistry come from and all of that? You think it just spawns out of whenever you want it to be? No, it's something that's there all the time. You see what I'm saying? The desire to reproduce is something that like is naturally in, and that
I
has
feel
to
like
And that's
I feel
why
like
it's always
yes, that is true, but
most of the time it's always a man asking a woman to go out or a man
But
spitting
it
game or
but it
that's just natural.
I believe that a relationship between a man and a woman should be initiated by the woman.
well,
And
I could
let me put that into context, okay? I think that like okay, let's go back to just like in let me take us back to a little bit older time where a woman would walk by and if she saw a man that she was interested in drop her handkerchief, then the man would pick the handkerchief up and bring it to her, and that would initiate the conversation. Yes, the man would ask the woman out, but the woman would usually make the first move and pull that pressure off of the man. Do you think that that's an important thing for women to do?
I don't think that that's a common thing.
I
It
think
has
it was a
not
smart
been
move.
common.
I think it's smart to kind of show the choosing signals to then so a man could move forward to know like okay the feeling is mutual. It's expressed in different ways. I thought you meant they initiate like hey let's go on a date this and that, but you're saying they need to
No,
drop a
no,
hint and
there's
participate
got
within the
there's got to be an understanding in the female population that we need to do something to initiate contact and take some of that pressure off of
yes
men.
yes that will help
I
out a
feel
lot.
like
Yes.
as a woman, I initiate contact and or I initiate contact or I might say something or you know be forward in ways and men find that extremely unattractive. Like I've been in relationships in a whole relationship and was forward about what I wanted or what I needed, and it's been seen as something that is not ladylike. Like that's I feel like men just want very demure women that follow their lead on, how certain things should be done. And if there was a woman that came up to you and she was
But
extremely
it's
forward and she knew exactly what she wanted and she knew that she liked you and etc., it would be deemed as, oh no, she's doing too much, or maybe she's a 304.
yeah, in some cases, but I've been approached a few times when I was living in Boston. Like I experienced a lot of that. It was surprising to me, but there was this one situation. I think it helps out a lot because if they have that confidence, they already know what they're expecting right off rip. I respect that. And any person, any adult with common sense is going to find that to be very beneficial. You see what I'm saying? Like, boom. she's an open book. She knows how to communicate, which is a big issue sometimes. You see what I'm saying? Because there's one thing that people say that they want, and then there's what they actually want. You know what I mean? It's different. But in this case, I was approached, and she told me straight up what she was looking for. She was looking for a stepdaddy. I said I'm good. You see what I'm saying? So it was like things like that. It'll help out a lot, and it'll save from a lot of headache, as opposed to like, the manipulation and the games, and that's what causes a lot of strife between like the genders.
I understand. I can see that. You know. Oh, what happened to Lulu?
No, I guess she requested on accident.
Oh man. She's like, oh no.
He's like, oh no, I gotta go.
Lulu, come back.
But peace, love, like being assertive in a relationship can be draining, right? Especially if you got two captains on the same ship and one of them is saying, yo, steer left, and the other one is going straight. That's the problem. Is that's what you expressed, which is different from what Shannon was saying. Shannon was saying it's like to initiate it, to facilitate it, as opposed to letting it all be on the man's side.
Well, I
But I
mean,
feel
I
like
see so many
men might
times.
learn that is how, and that's how it's supposed to be. Just like you guys were talking about earlier, we're like, yeah, men initiate, contact when it comes to those things. That's how it's supposed. This is how men think. So when a woman does such a thing, it's looked at like, hold up, like what is this?
Well, okay, I've seen so many times, like a group of women in a social environment. Let's just say a bar. Some women go out to a bar, some men go out to a bar. And the women will tend to sit in a circle, face each other, make no eye contact, have the whole conversation within that circle. The men are sitting across at another table. They're looking at the women. They would like to talk to the women, but they do not see an open door. And at what point would just some eye contact and a smile hurt if you actually were wanting to initiate conversation with such said man?
I will admit I have been that woman at the bar. And another
Truth
thing
telling.
is sometimes when you give men too much attention, then you'll get unwanted attention, which is another reason why, you don't want to make too much eye contact or make a man feel like, they're you want their attention, because sometimes you don't know what their attention will be. You
Oh
know,
yeah, it's a
you have
dice,
to
it's a
be,
toss of
you
the
got to
coin.
gauge it out. Okay. I'm
Well,
not just trying to talk to you off bucks because I see you. I'm trying to see how you're acting. You might be cute, but you might be messy. You might be attractive, but you might be doing something that I don't like. And that's about knowing what you want and what you don't want, or, judging the
that
behaviors of your future partner kind of thing.
see,
But
the bar was a bad example. I don't think that's like a good place to be courting. Like, I think
okay.
environment is a big thing as well, and knowing how to do it, because like you can initiate it in a subtle way that won't give off that negative reaction. And this is what I mean about like the